Hello, Alex. Welcome. It's nice to have you here. I know that we've been trying to speak to you for a couple of months, and it's finally good to have you here. Talk to us about Kratos and how you started this business. As much as I know, I always call it the Tesla of construction. Yeah. And I know that you're doing a lot of creative, innovative technologies. Why don't you tell us how you got started, how you got into the industry, and how you basically started with Kratos?
Yeah, it's good to be here. I think we live busy lives. We're always doing something, so getting schedules to match up to get this taken care of is great. So where do I start? So I grew up in the demolition business. So my grandfather and father, my uncle, all demolition contractors, this blue-collar, hard-working, taking something from nothing, a job that nobody really wants to do, and turning it into something magical, right? Got a degree in engineering in college and went to work for my father doing demolition. And I always wanted to be around the industry, found a way to help contractors a little bit differently. I like helping people. And that was kind of the way Cratos started. We had a project in an airport where we had to reduce our labor cost. That was the initial thing. As the contractor, we had to reduce our labor cost. Nobody wants to work overnight in an airport, pushing a broom and shovel and loading out crap, right? Nobody wakes up saying, I want to swing a sledgehammer all day. So I found a machine that could go inside, a battery-powered machine that could work inside. It was originally designed for a different use, and became the distributor throughout North America for this product that was made in Europe. And that was the first machine. And we retrofitted it, made it work for demolition contractors, so I could help make demolition contractors' lives easier, make them safer, make them more efficient, and in turn make them more profitable. Took 2 machines, put them in the back of a pickup truck, drove around the country, sold the 2 machines, came back, bought 4 machines, sold the 4 machines, bought a container of 9 machines, and then started that way. It was just, who can I help? How can I provide them value? Show them that they could do things a little bit safer and more efficient, and we were off to the races.
So the value is that the machine does the demolition, and it requires less labor, less risk from the individual who's operating the machine?
Certainly in North America, but probably around the world, is finding quality labor. Finding quality people to show up to work day in, day out, making sure that they're safe. And anytime that you can mechanize some process on a job site, it in turn makes it safer for the employee. It in turn makes it more efficient for the owner of the business, for the job site superintendent. There's value across the entire chain of command on a construction site, just by providing the right tools. It's like what we do in our business every day, is you provide the right tools for your team, they're then much more efficient.
Talk to us about the electric part. Why electric?
Yeah, so originally, and this is where the business really changed. Originally, we were focusing on not only electric machines, but we had diesel and gasoline machines as well. The business started in 2013, and then it was sometime around the end of 2015, early 2016, where you start to grow as an entrepreneur and you start to realize you have to be different. So how are you differentiating yourself from everybody else? And it was then where we said, we're only focusing on electric. We're going away. The diesel engine is going to die at some point. It's been optimized. It's been around for 100 years. Electric is the future. The push for green sustainability. In 2015, no one was really talking about that. Tesla was only known in their small circles with their Roadster. They had probably just come out with the Model S, and you were the crazy person. If you had a Model S in 2015, it was like, are you You sure you want that car? Is that really going to last? What's going to happen to the battery in 10 years? And at the time, I was like, this is where it's going. I'm not going to compete with the Caterpillars and the John Deeres of the world. Let's do something different. And when we differentiated ourselves, our business went through the roof.
Isn't that the hard way of doing things?
Yeah, certainly. It's not easy to go against what would be the norm of what's going on, right? It's very easy to go in and say, I'm going to take this business and I'm going to emulate this one and just try and do it better, right? So we are definitely on the leading edge. Even now, as battery is becoming more and more popular, right? You see it really changed in 2020 when every car manufacturer had an ad in the Super Bowl, right? Before 2020, it was like Tesla was on their own and there was a Nissan Leaf. But outside of that, BMW had talked about their iDrives, and Audi had talked about their e-tron, and Porsche had talked about their battery car, but nobody was really executing. And then all of a sudden, here come all these ads. Here comes all the car manufacturers are getting into battery. And then we weren't crazy anymore. It was like, oh, this is coming. This is a real thing. And people are moving to this. But for a long time, it was hard to walk into a customer and say, hey, you should look at this equipment. It's going to change the way you work. They would respond with, well, I don't see it anywhere else, or I don't think it's going to last, or it can't be as powerful as a diesel engine. There's all the reasons why not to do it. It's hard to take a leap of something that's new, but if you can execute it, that's what differentiates you.
Yep. I can only imagine the conversations that you've had with people. You're talking about 2015. If I had a construction business or a demolition business and you came to me in 2015 and you said, look, I have these electric machines instead of the diesel machines, I would probably be like, get the hell out of here. Why do you think you had that vision? And a follow-up question is, what do you see now for 10 years from now? And do you feel like that vision paid off for you?
Yeah, I think it comes back to your why, right? You have to have a purpose. You have to have a reason why you're doing those things. And if you're always grounded in that, then it becomes a lot easier to have conversations with people that you most likely are going to get a no from on the surface, right? So if I know about the customer and I know who they are and I've done my own research, I'm going to walk in believing that I'm going to help them, believing that what I have to offer them is going to change the way that they can operate. And while the first conversations may turn out and say, I'm not interested, or I don't believe in that, or you're full of shit, there's no way this will do what you say it's going to do, right? If you believe in your own why and you believe in your own purpose, you know that first initial no isn't really a true no. It's I don't believe in this system right now. At some point, it's going to change, right? Right now, all the craze is AI and robotics and all of these things. And there's so many people, when ChatGPT first came out, they were like, this is a bunch of crap. I don't need to use this. And then all of a sudden, more people started using it. And then more people started using it. And then all of a sudden it was, I can't log in. There's too many people that are using this free version. And then all of a sudden it was, how do I integrate it into everything that I'm doing? So if you're designing AI for people, the reason why you're doing it is because you believe that it's going to change the way people are going to go about their business. It's going to make them more efficient, right? So I would look at it the same way with what we were doing with battery electric construction equipment. I would go in to see a customer knowing ahead of time, I'm going to change the way that you look at the world and look at equipment. Just give me some time. And it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, whatever that time frame is, if I know I'm going to make you safer and more efficient, it's just a matter of time before you see that value as well.
Talk to us about the size of the construction business. How big is this industry? What's the market cap? How much money is out there? But not only how much money, how many people could you help? How many lives could you save? How many accidents could you avoid?
Yeah, so a couple of quick statistics, right? I mean, construction is trillions of dollars a year. Everywhere you look, it doesn't matter where you are, there's a roadway being built, there's a building being built, there's a hospital being renovated, a school being renovated, an apartment complex, there's cranes in the sky everywhere, right? But the one big statistic that we go back to time and time again is OSHA has a statistic about overexertion. Overexertion is OSHA claims of people on the construction job site lifting heavy things and straining themselves. Overexertion costs contractors $15 billion a year. Just that simple act of lifting something that somebody shouldn't be lifting. We're not talking about falling off ladders, which is another one, right? Which is why you start to see these scissor lifts on job sites now, right? We're not talking about people being sick and calling out. We're not talking about deaths, which is a terrible thing, but that does happen on construction sites. People are just taking shortcuts around safety. Overexertion is just me lifting an object that I shouldn't be lifting, right? $15 billion a year in cost to contractors for that simple act, where they're just not taking the time to make that job site safer and more efficient. That's just one aspect of what we're doing. There's other aspects of lack of labor, right? Time constraints, right? Construction overruns on job sites are through the roof. You take a project that should be a year long, now all of a sudden it's 2 years. You can look around anywhere in Miami and look and see this job started here. It's been going on for 4 years. What's going on, right? So there's a lot of things that go on throughout the day in a life of a construction worker that is totally inefficient.
I have spoken to few people who are as confident as you are when it comes to their own industries. Right before this shoot, you told me about you going into a 400,000 square foot warehouse and knowing every single element and every single thing that has to be done for that warehouse to go through demolition, to move everything out of the warehouse. This is a huge warehouse, right? That's a lot of know-how. Considering all of that, and you're an engineer, tell me what else you feel so confident about when it comes to this industry, your company, your know-how about construction and demolition. Because it's a very niche industry, it's not something we think about every single day. And that's why I'm so interested in it. Tell me maybe top 3 things that showcase your expertise.
When you live and breathe what you do, it becomes very easy to be excited about it, which then in turn drives more learning. You're always asking the next question, not because you want to sell more, but because you're really actually interested in it. So it goes back to that why and that purpose, which just in turn allows more information. I think I do that better than anybody else in this business, in this industry, is let's get to the bottom of what you're trying to do before we talk about anything else. Let's figure out how can we help you. And maybe we can help you, right? But you've got to be interested in what's at the core. Everybody is trying to solve a pain. In sales and business, you're trying to solve a pain. What is the pain? Sometimes that pain is not what it seems to be. Sometimes there is no pain. They're just kind of trying to find some more information. So I think I do that extraordinarily well, is finding the pain of something around the demolition industry because I'm truly interested in it. And then at some point you can then direct somebody where they need to go. I believe the strongest thing in business is being able to tell somebody no. If you're able to tell somebody no, you shouldn't be using me, you should be using this, you should be going in this direction instead of working with our company, that person's going to trust you endlessly. They know that you have their best interest at heart. At some point, you guys will do business together, but they're calling me first. the next time, because they trust me that I'm not just going to try and sell them something to sell them something. I'm in it for their best interest. And you build long-term relationships that way.
And you hear about all the pain, you hear about all the problems, and you are addressing some of those problems with the innovation that you have created at your own organization. Through that pain and through that problem solving, what other innovative areas do you see in the industry for construction?
I make this joke all the time. When you're on a construction site and you're talking to somebody there, their first response is when you show them something new, they're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. And it doesn't matter if they're 35 or they're 65. I've been doing this for 30 years, right? It's such an old industry that's so reluctant to change, which is a challenge, but it also opens up that pocket for innovation where people aren't going to flock to it, right? We talked a little bit about AI. Everybody's going into AI now, everybody, right? Apple's going into AI, Google's going into AI, Microsoft, like everybody. People are building their own softwares and adding, so construction is so reluctant to change. It's not an industry that people are going after, right? So there's this pocket of niches that you can do. For us, our innovation and our design is still all around safety and efficiency. If we can make contractors' lives safer and more efficient, we know we're building a successful product. So we started with a wheeled skid steer, a wheeled loader. We then went with a wheelbarrow, an electric wheelbarrow. We then went with a mini excavator. We then went with another style of wheelbarrow that lifts up and dumps over a dumpster. We then went with a track loader, right? All of these pieces are complementary to each other, all of them designed around working with contractors who are primarily indoors, making them safer and more efficient. But it's all around innovating with the customer in mind. It's very easy for us to sit in a room and design a machine based on what we think the market needs. It's much more difficult to get to the bottom and understand from a contractor's perspective, what does the market actually need? What's going to change the way that somebody is working with their hands, and allowing that human being to show up at 6 a.m. and feel just as good going home at 6 p.m. as he did when he woke up that morning. That's what it's all about.
So you're telling me that for the past 10 plus years, you've built a business in a very old-fashioned industry like construction that sells electric equipment, where car companies were having difficulty selling electric cars. Talk to me about the challenges that you have faced as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a boss, as an employee. Because I know sometimes you go and you actually fix these machines yourself. What have you given up?
Yeah, it's been a decade of fun. A little over 10 years we've been doing this. We're still so far on the leading edge, right? So you go and you bring on a new partner. I was in Detroit yesterday working with a customer, and we're trying to train their service team. They've got millions of dollars of fleet that they rent out to other contractors. Contractor calls them, they don't want to buy this piece of equipment, so they call this rental company and they say, hey, I want to rent this for a month for my project. I don't need it long term, I just need it for this. So this is what this company does. So yesterday I'm in Detroit working with their service team because their service team doesn't know how to properly service a lithium battery or other electrical components that are within this machine. They're very well versed in diesel engines. They're very well versed in basic electric cabling. But when it comes to lithium batteries, this is new. This is a new technology for them. So something that they're not used to. So that's definitely a challenge, is bringing on board and scaling this to a much larger scale. Taking something and training people around the country on how they can provide a better service to the person who's using the product. Finding people within our own company that believe in our purpose and our why and what we're trying to accomplish, right? Just like our customers are trying to find people that want to show up every day, want to come to work, want to put their best foot forward. As an entrepreneur, I too have the same problems. Finding people that want to have that attention to detail, want to pick up the phone and call the customer back even though they know that the customer's having a problem. In this industry, these machines are going to break. It's part of what we do. It's how do you get it back up and going? Same thing in the car industry. Your car is going to break down at some point, but the last thing that you want to hear from your car dealership is, I'm sorry, I can't get to you for another 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or this tire is not in stock, or we don't know what's wrong with your engine. Bring it in and we'll get to it. Nobody wants to hear that. They have places to be. They have their own life to live. Contractors don't want to hear that your machine is down for a month because I can't get to you. I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. Right? So there's challenges of scaling, especially in a business that's on the leading edge. I've bootstrapped this business for 10 years. There's no outside investors, so, as an entrepreneur, taking every dollar, every quarter that you have and rolling it back into your business to take it to the next step, kind of living and breathing and feeling what it takes to be successful, that's always a challenge.
And you are one of the most hardworking people that I know. Every time we meet I think once a month for EO. You are traveling to at least 3-4 different places. You're getting home at 2 in the morning. You're waking up at 7 in the morning. So I understand the why, but more importantly, couldn't you do something easier than what you're doing? Is it all worth it?
Yeah, you could do something easier, but what would the fun in that be? Entrepreneurs are built differently. I think that entrepreneurs are always looking for the next challenge. We always want to do better. We're internally much harder on ourselves than we are on other people, right? We expect more from ourselves. We believe that we can go on to do these incredible things, right? I can take Elon Musk, for example. Elon Musk could have sold his shares in PayPal and gone on, and nobody would have ever heard from him again, and all is good. But he's like, I'm going to shoot rockets into space and then land them on a pad in the middle of the ocean. Who thinks of that? Who believes that they can do that at that point? And then, oh, by the way, while he's doing that, he's going to then go and build battery-powered cars and do that. Oh, and then, oh, by the way, while he's doing that, he's going to go and bore tunnels from one place, one city to another city, all at the same time. Why? I don't think he's a masochist. He wants the challenge. Entrepreneurs at heart, they want the challenge. They want to build something good. They feed off of it. It's that desire to see what's next. What can you do? Same thing with Jeff Bezos, right? One day I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to sit in an office somewhere. I'm going to build a bookstore online. It doesn't start with a bookstore. It then goes to something else. I'm going to build the world's largest cloud-based system. Oh, by the way, I also can put rockets into space, right? What's next? What's the next challenge? How do you push yourself to the limit to see where can I go?
And I feel like a lot of people don't get that. It's not really about making money. Making money is a byproduct of that hunger for change, hunger for innovation, hunger for accomplishment. Again, I don't think success is a destination in that aspect. Just looking at and listening to what you have done makes my head spin. My business is marketing and software. I would not dare touch hardware. And here you are doing hardware. Not only are you doing hardware, you're doing hardware in a technology that's very, very recent.
Yeah.
And not only are you doing that, you're trying to convince other people that this technology is worth it. Just the sheer level of objection that you have heard from an old-fashioned industry like construction, I can't imagine.
When you put it that way, sounds a little crazy.
But you would still say it's worth it.
Absolutely. I think when we were sitting talking before this and I took a phone call and it's a customer, he's a concrete cutter. One location, he calls me, he asks me a question about his machine. He doesn't need to call me. There's plenty of other people on our team that he could call. But when I see a phone number of somebody that I know, I always pick it up. It's your opportunity to make an impact with that person, right? Calls me and says, This is what's going on with my machine. Is this normal? Absolutely it is. And his response is, I'm so happy I got this. This has saved me so much. This has saved my back. I don't know how I ever did work without it, right? That's the reason why you keep going. It's that at its core level. When you know that you can affect somebody to that type of level, you can make their life so much easier, it's all worth it.
And business owners pay attention to the small stuff. They pay attention to the subtle things, right? Just like you and I pay attention to the subtle things.
Yeah.
So I call that the CEO touch point. There's nothing better than a CEO touch point. And a lot of people don't want to do it. A lot of business owners don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's the absolute best thing that you can do for your business. Pick up the phone no matter how hard it is. Make that call no matter how hard it is. Make that trip no matter how hard it is. Yeah. And if you just do that one thing, it changes the trajectory of your organization. Now, great question for you is, how do you inflict that level of attention to detail on your team?
Yeah, that's the ultimate challenge. And that, I think, is where, as an entrepreneur, you achieve true growth and true sustainability within your business. When you can surround yourself with people that care, this is going to sound a little crazy, but if you, as an entrepreneur, you care so deeply, if you can surround yourself with people that care half as much as you do, there's no chance that your business is not successful. You're guaranteed to have success as a business owner if you can surround yourself with people that care half as much as you do. There's always going to be challenging times, but if those people have that true desire to win, that true desire to succeed, that true desire to help your customers succeed, in whatever business you're in, you could be in construction, you could be in software, you could be manufacturing cups, right? Doesn't matter what you're supplying to a customer. If you have that desire to make sure that they have a good experience, you're going to be successful.
And that comes from your why and you finding out what that why is.
Absolutely. It absolutely comes from the CEO's ability to bring that messaging to the ground level of the organization. If the person that sweeps the floor in our warehouse feels that powerful about providing a clean environment for the machines to be in, if the person sweeping the floor feels that confident about their job and taking pride in, I have all of these machines that are going to go to customers, they can't have dust, they can't have dirt, they've got to go out perfect. That customer then opens up that truck full of equipment and it's like Christmas morning. Here it is. Look how beautiful this is. It's been delivered. It's an incredible experience. And people don't forget that. People don't forget the first time that they turn on your software and it works perfectly. And they're like, how come I didn't do this earlier? This is incredible. I trust Duran with my kids. He delivered this to me, right? They remember that. They feel that. And if you can get that messaging down to the person that writes code, the person that sweeps the floor, the person that comes in to clean the bathroom, doesn't matter. If you can get that message across, there's no way that you cannot succeed in business.
Thank you, Alex, for showing up today. And I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the next 10 years.
I appreciate it. This has been fantastic. It's a fun ride, a challenging ride. We'll still be on the leading edge 10 years from now. That's one of the most important things in business, is to consistently innovate. Try new things. You're going to fail, right? But you have to learn from it. One of our core values, actually, our core values have changed. This year they changed as our business has continued to grow. You can't always have the same core values because you're not the same business when you start versus where you are 10 years in. And one of our core values is good, right? And good stands for when all of the bad happens, that's good. There's an opportunity gained from something not happening. You have to find the good in all of those things. So when you continue to innovate and you find something new, it's probably going to fail the first time. You're not going to do it right the first time, but that's good. You have to learn from it. Fix it, do it again. Fail again, learn from it, fix it, go again. And if you continue to believe that there's good that comes from the bad, it's another thing that's going to make sure that you're successful as an entrepreneur.